the ground floor from a student information system that was antiquated to a system being adopted and implemented from Sapphire, and all of those processes as well, from going from a lab in middle school and high school to one-to-one secondary, and as well through Alloway Creek and the classroom devices. And, definitely it's a core member of our technology team that will be missed for sure.
Is he going on to bigger and better things, I hope?
It's always bigger and better. It's always
That's,
bigger.
that's
and better.
always that's a compliment. That's a
Oh,
compliment.
absolutely, absolutely.
You know. Okay. Well, it will be missed. So, I have a motion and a second. A comment. Anybody other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the retirement of Mr. Lonnie Myers, 8th grade math teacher, effective June 3rd, 2025.
I have a motion on the floor concerning the retirement of Lonnie Myers, effective June 3rd, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second, Mary Brenneman.
Thank you, Mary.
Everybody else sleeping?
Do I have any discussion other than the fact to thank? Go ahead, you can do it.
Yep. We'd like to thank Mr. Myers for his over 20 years of dedicated service to the district as a teacher. I'd like to note Mr. Myers is a teacher that had a special influence on my life and career, as Mr. Myers was actually the person that got me involved originally in baseball umpiring and sports officiating, and that's something that I still do to this day at the high school and college levels. I have Mr. Myers to thank for helping put me on that track. So he will be greatly missed, and we thank him for his service.
Okay. I've got a motion, I've had comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In the form of a motion, recommend approval of the contract with Elevate Mind LLC for substitute staffing for maternity leave coverage.
I have a motion on the floor for the recommended approval of contract for Elevated Minds. Do I have a second?
Second, Mary Brenneman.
Sounds enthusiastic there. Comment. Does anybody have any comment?
I wanted to ask a question on it. Is this just something we're doing for a strict purpose? Because I read the contract, and I know it says for paternity leave. Are we expecting that, or are we just doing it just in case?
And we're doing it for maternity leave.
Okay, okay.
My comment is $715 a day.
Yes.
That's $215 more than we paid a superintendent substitute.
We're negotiating.
I won't be so brash to say that. I will say that I find that very expensive, and it's mental health, and I understand it. But that boils down to $128,700 a year. That's a lot of money.
Correct.
And especially $11,440 for 16 days. I wish I got paid that much. And no, you wish you got paid that much.
Did we look for other?
Do we have other
Yeah.
avenues, or is this?
If I may, it's for a licensed therapist. Our students are currently seeing a licensed therapist, so it's not just a teacher cert or a counselor cert. It's a licensed therapist that works with these students, and she currently sees 38 students. So I pared it down to the highest need, which is about 20, to be seen every week. Otherwise, these students will be in the counselor's office taking up their day. So that's what this is for.
Help me out here a little. Just spoon feed me the fact that there's not a whole lot of these substitute services out there. Something.
No, because this doesn't go through Kelly Services. Does not have licensed mental health therapists.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a specialized area.
This is very specialized.
Did we get any other quotes from any other contractors?
I did not. This is just one that is easily accessible, or that I know that has people that can come in that that have worked with our students before, that know our system, that are familiar with Willows Count. That'll make it a smooth transition for our students.
When do we need to have this in place by? When is the expected date of the person being out?
February, I think it's the first week of February, and then they would spend one day at the high school, half a day at the middle school, half day at the elementary school. So it'll be 2 days a week.
Would it be an option to table it to the next meeting to see if we can solicit some other bids?
It could, we could wait until the next and see what we get. That's not a problem. As long as the expectation meets the deadline. Sometimes with pregnancies, they go early. But yes, we could.
That's fine. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It's
Yeah.
like you danged if you do and danged if you don't. That's not the way it originally goes, but
But you're right, Carl, that is a lot of money.
it's a lot of money and I had a hard time with it because I unfortunately started out doing the math wrong, going, it's $11,440 for 2 days. I'm like, wait a second. I read it wrong.
Yeah.
Maryland education, sorry. But, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get a whole lot of, you know.
So what do you
Is
say?
this one specific person, or is it a variety of
It's a
people that you can
company.
choose from?
It's a service, it's a therapist office.
Right, okay.
That can
But they're
help
not all,
out and
they're not all
have somebody who
certified,
can
are they?
support our students.
Are they all certified?
She's gonna have a licensed certain therapist for us.
The contract requires a licensed therapist.
Yes.
I just wanna make sure they do this.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
Yes.
Is it are they only, basically, I think what Janelle's question was, are they giving us one person that's gonna be ours, or could it be a mix?
No, it'd be the same person, because we wouldn't have to student meet with different counselors every week. It would be the same person, yes.
And currently, Dr. Fiaschi, we had the mental health therapist has, you said 39?
38.
38, okay. That she sees any day, every day during the week, 5 days a week. And what we've done here to be able to offset is to take just the most needy, the most intensive
Yes.
need of our students.
Yes, I mean, our
so that we
counselors are
can
gonna
have them
pick
see.
up
Yeah.
every other week, and our psychologist, and like everybody else will pick up, but these are the most needy.
So we're triaging it.
Yes, very much so.
This contract reads, it's 2 days per week, and it reads the amount of money. Expectation of only 8 weeks maternity leave, so it's not a full year.
No, it's just for the 8 weeks that she's
Correct.
out. Yes.
Is that the 11,440 figure?
For,
Yeah.
yes, for 8 weeks, yes.
So we would be approving this company for that exact amount, no more.
No.
I'll do this and see where the board lands on it. I'll make a motion to table this to the January meeting, and ask the administration to receive other bids in the meantime, to see if we have other options that could possibly be an equivalent service at a lesser price.
I'll second you on that, Nick.
All those in favor of tabling the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's tabled. Sorry. Okay.
End of personnel report, under curriculum, co-curriculum and policy, item A is for discussion only. If there's any discussion, otherwise, recommend, in the form of a motion, recommend approval of board policies and procedures 201, 202, 203, 203.1, 830.1, and 801.
I have a motion on the floor to recommend approval of the board policies 201, 202, 203, 203.1, 830.1, and 801. Do I have a second? Do I have any discussion?
Yes, I have some. On policy 801, I read through it. From what I've read, and I read a lot of it, it seems like a lot of the decision-making is put on Carrie. Sorry, Carrie, to bring you up, but as the right-to-know officer for the school district. And some of those decisions are a make or break situation, like do we have the material that they want or don't we have it? My problem is I don't think Carrie, this is not an offense to you, is skilled enough to know what we do and don't have.
That is offensive.
No, I'm not meaning it to be offensive, because I think Eric Naylor probably has some of the stuff that we would be looking for in any situation, stored, archived.
Do you want to answer that? You don't care, you don't know how.
I didn't mean that as an insult, I'm
No,
just,
I think
I'm-
you should trust me as the right to know officer to reach out to the appropriate contacts
I'm
to
just-
gain that
I'm right down the
information.
hallway.
okay.
Yeah, like,
Right.
Well, no, I'm trying to, no, I'm not trying to offend you, Carrie. I'm actually, I didn't mean to come off that way. What I meant to say was, is I was kind of, I didn't want all the pressure on you to have to make that decision.
there's never any pressure. I trust the people that work within the district to
Okay,
help.
because you're
And
signing the affidavits, and
certainly-
if there's somebody else, is what I'm trying to say, that has the stuff that you don't know, that's what I was trying to say.
We work very closely with
Okay.
whoever's necessary,
Okay.
with the right to knows, and we go from there. So it's not me. I don't.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't you that stuck your neck out for the affidavits. Okay.
Do you have any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Brian Lawyer is out sick. He asked me to pass along the fact that he is out sick. Brian Lawyer is now the president of the JOC for the tech prep program for the next year. Just in case you don't know, it's a revolving door. We don't, it's was set when we started it 6-7 years ago. Everybody gets a chance at something, and it's just this big wheel that keeps moving. So he's in charge. He also wanted to recognize that we had multiple students at ACTI recognized last quarter. Their names were, and Dr. Nate Becker, these are your people. Tanner Rock, Caitlin Collins, Karen Miller, and Mackenzie Hammer were all students of the quarter last month. So if you would recognize them at some point for us, and maybe next time we have some, I don't know that you know or not, whether you knew or not, maybe have them come to our meetings so that we can recognize them. And that's about all he said. So that's the end of his report. Nick?
Just a couple items from PSBA. Pennsylvania Secretary of Education, Dr. Newman, resigned. His resignation was effective December 6th, so just a few days ago. Deputy Secretary Angela Fitterer will serve as the acting Secretary of Education until the governor appoints a replacement. I wish Brian was here, because this next part was for him. Last week, the U.S. Department of Education called on every state, school, and district to adopt policies on cell phone use in schools. The department asks schools to have a well-thought-out policy on the matter, but does not dictate exactly what this policy should be. Another news for PSBA, the month of January is PSBA's School Director Recognition Month, where PSBA and school districts recognize school board members across the Commonwealth for their service to their communities and to public education. And as the PSBA representative, I will be attending a PSBA liaison webinar on January 22nd next month. That's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. All right. LIU, you all received a nice little note which went over all the nice board minutes, notes, the consent agenda, the retirements, which there is 9 of, and there's only 5 coming in, so that's not a good thing. Like always, their treasurer's report, the on-hand cash that they have, let's see, they have $81,000. Like always, they're looking for bus drivers too. And that's about it for the LIU. Dr. Mitchell, you're up.
Well, in keeping with the spirit of brevity, I'll do the same. Just to share, it's been since about October 1st since I took over as superintendent. I've been holding meetings with various groups to try to find out what the grows and the glows are within the district, where are the strengths, what are the weaknesses. During this month, I'll be taking that data into account, trying to analyze and figure out what's moving forward so that as we move forward, we can designate committees and a number of folks that will be in certain areas working on those areas of for improvement. And I will share with the board in January the results and what's happening and what some of that analysis is and what direction I think we need to be able to go with our committees. I would also like to say that, just a reminder to the board, we do have board training and support scheduled for January 8th, 2025, beginning at 4 o'clock. I am very excited. This is really an opportunity to focus on extending and enhancing our current training and experiences for our current board members. I would also like to thank a number of individuals on the administrative team that do an excellent job every day, work very hard, very knowledgeable in what they do. That includes all of my administrative cabinet, administrative council, and I want to just personally thank Mrs. Mummert for the work that she does every day in everything for me and for the office. And that's the end of my report.
Okay. FMX report is in your packet. Monthly enrollment is in your packet as well. Is there any new business?
Ms. Crawford, you just bring up the contractors versus the district bus drivers.
Yes.
Are we going to address this in the near future? Because from what I was told, we're paying $310 a day for a contractor bus and driver, as opposed to $70 a day for a district driver. That's a big spread, and I understand we're short on drivers. That's going to add a whole lot more expense to our budget. And I'm just wondering if we're trying to remedy that. I think Nick had said that we pay $50 less than other districts per hour or per day. Is that what you?
Than the contractors.
Than the contractors.
Not other districts.
Okay.
The contractors pay between $30 and $50 less a day.
I've been in contact with other superintendents in the district to see how they're remedying the solution or trying to remedy a solution. We're not the only ones in the district.
Right.
It doesn't cross any boundaries. A lot of school districts have gone away from using in-house transportation, but then they're exactly like the bubble we're in. You're at the will of the bid, and usually each and every time when you go to it, the bid gets a little bit higher and a little higher and a little higher, and when you have no equipment, you're at their mercy, and you have to have somebody. So we're trying to figure something out. The biggest problem is, and my suggestion is that each one of you contact your state representative and say, why do everybody have to be in Peasers? If you don't want to be in Peasers,
That's a good point.
when you're at the age of retirement, you know, I can see somebody at 65 saying, yeah, I'm not eligible to collect it until I'm 75, and do we really want to, you know, do they want to stick around for 10 years to collect an additional couple dollars? I mean, and that's what the fee is, and that's one of the reasons that we're there.
So it's mandatory.
Peasers is mandatory, period. There is no discussion. So when you start, and it used to be, I thought 7 years.
It's 10 now.
And it's 10 now. So it used to be a little bit easier. Oh, it used to be 5. It was easier to stomach, but now when you come on, and I've yet to see very many in the state of Pennsylvania that are young. You sure don't see any 18. Well, no, I've given them a 21, I think, to drive a bus. Any 21-year-olds just dying to drive a school bus and have 50 of the closest friends behind you screaming in your ear.
True.
And misbehaving. So.
I know when I was on the board before, we had signs like on every corner, try to get somebody, and nobody wanted to be hired as a bus driver. And that's why we had to vote to go and do the contract.
Yeah.
We just couldn't find anybody so much.
I mean, it's something that I've been in contact with several of the districts to find. When I started this 11 years ago, I took a field trip to see whether it'd be financially worth it to go to the sub-out bus, to sell all the buses and not have anything to do with it, and it wasn't. It was in the school's best interest. Unfortunately, it's now tougher due to Peasers going from 5 to 10 years to, for some of these bus drivers to stick around when they can go 5 miles up the road and become a bus driver. So, maybe the next contract we can make it so that they have to use our equipment or whatever, and Tom's looking at you, sir.
Just also that not only like the retention aspect of it, it's that people get to learn, get their CDL, do everything, and they move, they go on to other districts. So that's another thing that's negative. And there's a point where the scale goes to the point where, when does it cost more to keep what we're doing now versus the hire out with the contractors? But once you pull that trigger, there's no going back. And then they got you if they want to.
Yeah.
And the concern I have, not to interrupt you, Steve, I don't know if you were done or not, but the concern I have is we just put 543,000, or 600,000 total into the transportation. So if we buy more buses, are we going to be able to have drivers for them? That's my point too. And we don't know.
That
Here's-
fund balance can be moved at any time.
Oh, okay.
And here's the alternative. If we don't and sell off or lease off all of our equipment, we don't have any,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, we need to go back into the business to do it, it's gonna cost you
A lot
$7, $8,
more.
$9, $10 million
To buy
just to start
buses.
again.
Yeah, I'm not
So
saying
that's-
don't buy them, I was just curious how we're gonna, if we have the money laying there, we're planning on, I'm sure, having to upgrade the buses. Obviously, I've seen a lot of them are pretty old. And I'm just worried about once we have them, if we're gonna be able to have drivers for them. It's probably, I've heard from previous meetings, it's cheaper to have it in district. I think Tom, you brought that up a long while back, and I listened to it. I understand that being the case. It's just keeping bus drivers is the issue. We have the equipment, don't have the drivers, and that's the big thing.
Do you have a suggestion for getting drivers?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, from what I've heard, it's the money that they're worried about. And like Carl said, he's right. The Peasers is an obstacle because these people want the cash. They don't really want the health care, from what they told me. And, I agree. I mean, at their age, why would they want the Peasers? I guess we have to be more competitive, and that's kind of hard to do with Peasers, I would imagine. So, something has to be done because we need to be competitive that people want to come here and drive. I mean, they live close. From what they were told, they said it doesn't matter where they live, but they live close. But they still would drive further away to make more money. So, what do we do?
We're looking into it, and it's something that's on every superintendent's plate. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
There's 2 quick things.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to thank Mr. Moran for going down in the morning to see what I've been talking about with the whole school drop-off thing. I appreciate you going out there and being involved in that so you can see. Thank you. And the other thing is, I just want to wish everybody safe and happy holidays.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Mary.
Welcome, Danielle.
Hey, Danielle, you better call your mom.
I just thanked her.
All right.
There's a precedent.
There is a weather advisory, there's a dense fog, so please be careful driving home at night. Tonight, specifically, for those of you that have to drive far, and then the deer are out playing. So, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, Daniel Brenneman.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Yes, sir.
Don't even threaten me. Don't ever threaten me. You just did.
You got your pen camera on there, Dwayne. Got it on your recording?
You stay out of it, Janelle. I want to hear your mouth. One bit whatsoever. This bag.